Hey, we welcome you back to In the Box with Willie Ramirez. We are getting the PHWA initiative of bringing videos to you, introducing you to the members. We're getting it started this week. Well, with a very important topic, as news came out that Columbus Blue Jackets forward Patrik Laine is taking a leave of absence to prioritize his mental health. He sent a message out on Instagram, and as it went viral, people realized that, hey, it's bigger than a sport, right? Or hockey is much bigger than the sport itself. So joining me tonight is Columbus Blue Jackets beat writer, and many other sports out there in Columbus, Mark Scheig. Mark, thanks for joining me on short notice tonight.
Absolutely, Willie. Always a pleasure to join you.
So let's jump right into it. You and I had a chance to talk before we got started here, just off the air. Mental health obviously has really grown in terms of the topic itself, especially in the NHL. I think worldwide with all sports, we're seeing it more and more, but it's really, taking a life of its own in terms of the conversation and getting it started. And I want to say it really sort of took off and the talk escalated after Robin Lehner's speech at the NHL Awards several years back, and him talking about being medicated and his bipolar and so on and so forth. And we're seeing it more and more. Were you shocked by the news today?
I was not. There was a little question in the background about, why he's on the road trip. And Pascal Vincent, the head coach, came out and said, well, he had a setback. He was sent to Columbus. Well, on Sunday before their game against the Seattle Kraken, he clarified the comments and actually apologized for kind of choosing the words, and they wanted to protect Patrik. So it kind of explained a little bit of a question, why did he suddenly leave the road trip? Because he was set to play. He was really close to returning from a fractured clavicle. But when you look back at it, Willie, I mean, everything that he's been through, the passing of his father, several different injuries and inconsistencies, there was questions about his confidence. So at the end of the day, it really is not all that surprising, but it's good that he realized that the resources are there. He's taken advantage of it. He's got the full support of the team. And you mentioned the statement that he released saying that he, I've recognized the importance of prioritizing my mental health and well-being. I mean, for somebody like Laine, who is used to having the spotlight on him as a star player, that's a very important step, because if he's able to do it, there could be opportunity for other players like him to do the same thing.
The NHLPA recently came out. They talked about a new initiative in terms of really embracing mental health and having more of a hands-on approach and being there more in support. The timing couldn't be better, obviously. What are you seeing league-wide in terms of, you've been covering the NHL, just in general, the conversation being more prominent and how important it is? We hear mental health matters, mental health awareness, but, I've always ridden the soapbox of men's mental health matters, because men seem to put this bravado on, this armor, if you will, in that it's not okay to talk, to show it may be a sign of weakness. In a sport like hockey, that's got to weigh on their minds as to whether they can become vulnerable with something like that.
Yeah, it's well said on your part, because as men, that is one of the biggest struggles overall that they face is you got to be strong. You got to be able to overcome anything. But the reality is that you're holding yourself back from getting the help that you need, kind of getting the freedom, because as I said, everybody goes through different battles. It doesn't matter. We don't necessarily know what battles everybody goes through, but everybody has them. But the talk is becoming more and more prevalent now, as more players, take advantage of this program. And I really feel like that the conversation league-wide is expanding as well, Willie. And it's a great thing to see that it's such an important conversation to have, in all walks of life. Nobody's excluded from it. Everybody can get the help that they need. And for somebody like Laine to be able to do that, I mean, he said it himself. He hopes to come back from this. I look forward to returning to the ice with a clear mind and renewed energy. Who wouldn't want that? Right. Especially with everything that they're going through here. So the fact that it's becoming more prevalent, it's good. I expect it to continue to expand as more players become more willing to, dive into those kind of conversations. And then they realize, what have I been waiting for?
Right.
And it's so good to see.
Well, and I don't think people realize that it's not something that you can control and avoid. It's more or less, when it hits, that's when you have to learn how to control it. You can't control whether or not it's going to hit, whether it's depression,
Yep.
whether it's anxiety, whether it's panic attacks, whatever it may be. As you know, I wrote a column back in October that actually went viral within the hockey media, social media. The media members saw it, and then hockey fans, so on and so forth. And as I explained in my column, someone was like, "Hey, I don't want you to be depressed anymore." As a family member, I was like, "Yeah, I don't want to be depressed anymore either." But guess what? I am. And on any
Mhm.
given day, you wake up with different mental battles, different mental demons. And I'm not afraid to say it. I I went through some struggles right after the Stanley Cup final. The Golden Knights win it. It was shortly thereafter. And I was fine after I took a 3-week hiatus. It was not too long ago, Raiders Broncos game. I had 2 anxiety attacks, one in the press box, one on the freeway driving home. And since then, I've had some of the worst battles with demons since June. And there have been several days just within the past week, you're battling suicidal thoughts. And
Mm.
we talked a little bit before we went live off the air, is that, this extends beyond hockey players. This extends beyond pro athletes. This hits everybody. It can affect coaches. It can affect trainers. It can affect us professional hockey writers, right? How do you see, just outside the realm of athletes and other people, just in general, that you walk alongside every single day and walk a life?
Oh yeah, it's a great point because fans focus on the athletes, but you don't realize the number of different people, the number those that have different jobs at the game, or those fellow writers, or whoever it might be. Everybody is a walking story. Everybody has the battles that they go through. You just don't know what they go through on a day in and day out basis. You don't know when that attack comes. You don't know what bothers them. And so I try to make it a point to be a positive influence as much as possible, whether it's just as simple as saying hello, how are you doing? Maybe just smiling at somebody. Like, it might seem like a small thing, but it could be somebody's brightest moment of the day. And
Yeah.
just to be able to walk through, kind of with them, if they're doing great, that's excellent. But then when you get to know somebody and they start to share these sort of things with you, you kind of develop that trust. You realize that no matter where you're at, someone's probably been going through what you're going through right now or have overcome it. And there's an opportunity to, you know, to learn, to overcome, and to eventually maybe parlay your story into helping somebody else. So, yeah, we see it all the time, just talking to other writers, it might not be the exact same thing, but it's something that's very similar to what you're going through. And it kind of helps build a connection, helps build a relationship. And I'll tell you, I've learned a lot of things through just talking to many different writers throughout North America, just in simple conversation. And, you know, listen, I go through mental health stuff too. One of the things that I battle, just kind of open up here, I battle loneliness. I've lost both my parents already. I don't have any siblings. So I've always had the belief that I'm unloved, I'm not wanted. And that actually, that couldn't be further from the truth. And just in getting to talk to other writers and getting some advice and talking to therapists and stuff, you know, they've helped me understand the power of, being valued and that you are valuable. And I can't say enough about how much seeking that help has helped me, become a better writer and to be able to overcome, those certain battles.
It's certainly relevant in today's conversation, Mark, and I applaud you for your vulnerability. And we're right there with you, brother. You know what I mean? I have a tattooed on my arm. It's my mantra. It's okay to not be okay. I feel that anybody that denies that they go through anything at any given time, that's abnormal. And if it's true, God bless you. But the majority of us out there at some point in time battle something, sometime, some way.
Yep.
And it's at times it's not easy, and it makes it a little bit simpler when you know that somebody else like us is going through it, or you can just reach out and talk to someone. So I appreciate you coming on tonight. Real quick,
Yeah.
How do you think? I'm just curious. How do you think the news of this? They obviously happen to know what Patrik Laine was going through, but real quick as we close, a little touching on the Blue Jackets. They've been struggling here and there. How has this affected the team, and what will his return do? Could this put a damper on? I mean, it comes at the right time with the All-Star break. Just your thoughts overall with the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think at the end, the team released a statement saying that they fully support him and that the sole purpose of this is to support him in everything that he does. So from that perspective, I firmly believe that everybody has Patrik Laine's best interest at heart. So no matter how long it takes for him to go through to get the care that he needs, hockey's going to be there whenever he gets done, as long as he gets the help that he needs. I don't think that it'll put much of a damper. I mean, the Blue Jacket season is already kind of in a bad spot as it is. So if he's able to come out of this actually more refreshed and able to overcome all of this, that could actually turn into an eventual positive story, because he has a couple of years left in his contract. So if he comes back a better version of himself, it could turn out to be a very good thing in the long run. I know that they support him through this, and they'll let him take whatever time he needs.
Most certainly would be an inspirational story, and a lot of people could sort of heed the notice about that in that, getting some help, recognizing your issues, prioritizing your mental health, and talking it out with a therapist or whomever it is, just taking some time to yourself. It definitely would be an inspirational story. Once again, Professional Hockey Writers Association member Mark Scheig. Make sure you follow him on X. I still call it Twitter.
Yeah, same. Tweets, Twitter. Yep.
And check out all of his stuff as he continues the coverage for you. And of course, we'll keep you updated on Patrik Laine as he battles, and we all battle. So Mark, my friend, I appreciate you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much, Willie. Really appreciate it.